Hey, we're in a jet again today. You can hear the motors in the background. You know, the roar of the engines. Cruising 30,000 feet. Skies are clear. No traffic to speak of. And it's a beautiful day. Yeah, right. Private jet. Might as well go with it now. All right. Private jet. It's a small one. You know, it's not like Donald Trump size or anything. It's just, you know, just your common, ordinary, everyday, pretty little airplane jet kind of thing. I'm enjoying a nice cup of tea because it's morning. AM. Trying to get my freak on today. Nice tea. Good tea. And enjoying my current brand of tobacco. Rolled, factory rolled, filtered. Cigarette. Cigaretto. Cigarello. Cigarette. You know, I'd like to talk about the Nazi bastards, or should I say fascist bastards, or should I just say fascist Nazi bastards? Or is there another word I could use to describe the government of America? There's the America, as my redneck friends would say. You know, sometimes we just get disgusted and fed up, and you know, it just gets to be a little bit too fucking much. Yeah, I say fucking a lot because I like that word. It has become quite a common word. It's almost like it's not even cussing anymore. It's just not even obscene. It's just become a common word, like, hey man, that's cool, you know, or awesome, or you know, things like that. I don't object to that. There are still people that they just can't get used to the idea that practically everybody in the country, I'm talking about American, uses the word fuck or fucking as easily and as commonly as they use the word hey man, that's cool. Do people still say that? Cool? I mean, that's like one of them hippie era words, right? Cool meaning hot. You know, like that double speak kind of thing that was in Orwell's 1984 novel, which I read a long time ago. And I've seen several movies. I have seen several movies on that theme since then. I just wonder sometimes about people. No, I wonder all the time about people. Let's be honest, because there's people are weird. They're freaky. Sometimes You get the feeling that you're living in a surreal world. I'm being presumptuous here by saying you. I guess I should just speak for myself, right? I feel, it just seems to me like right now it's all so surreal. And if you don't know what the word surreal means, look it up. But by all means, look it up. I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm just going to insist. Look up the word in the fucking dictionary. Yeah, because it's a cool word. As I understand it, it means, oh, by the way, I'm an artist, I paint, I do surreal things, I make surrealistic art type things, sometimes. Not quite as cool as Salvador Dali, but, oh, and if you don't know who Salvador Dali is, probably a millennial, one of those people born after, 1990 or so. When I hear the words millennial, I think, oh, you mean somebody born in 2000 and and recently, which would make them at least no more than 17 if they were born in like January of 2000. But that wouldn't be practical, because if we're talking about millennials and only those born after 2000, that would be like I could be talking about somebody that was born last week who wouldn't be listening to this show, right? Because they're like a week old, and they're like at that point thinking, "Give me some titty, I'm hungry." And not that that's an exclusive to week-old babies. Because I very often think, gee, give me some titty. Even now. And I'm way past a week old. I've been around for almost 7 decades. Which is kind of scary. I don't know if it's surreal or not. Maybe. Could be surreal. Yeah. The fact that I am almost 70 when I used to be almost like 40. Like, wow, what happened? Apparently somebody made the clock go faster and I got older than I was then. Which is kind of weird. And I agree with people. You are as old as you feel, and I'm feeling it. So... I kind of like the saying, you're as old as you think. Well, I think the whole phrase is, you're as old as you think you are. Kind of like that one, but it's a lie or a delusion. Because I'm pretty sure that I think, like intelligently, logically, rationally, I'm thinking, yeah, I know exactly how old I am. To the day and probably to the minute at this point. And I'm not senile. That's amazing. But maybe I kind of know sort of how, well, let's see, who could I don't know. Anyway, okay. What's that guy's name? Keith Richards. You look at him and you say, damn, you're old as dirt. And he's about my age, somewhere give or take a few imaginary years, as if years are real. So what I'm getting to here is that I don't think that the word fuck is a bad word. I don't think it's obscene or profane or dirty. And that's just me. But then again, I'm a wordsman, wordsmith, word right. Words are like the tools of my trade or occupation, as the case may be. And I like words. Words are cool. Awesome sometimes. And sometimes I put words together in a very awesome way, and it sounds really out of fucking sight, man. As my ancient hippie friends would have said, perhaps. I was never a hippie, by the way. I might have looked like a hippie, but I wasn't a hippie. And I probably would have enjoyed being a hippie to some degree, but I wasn't. But I could fit in with hippies. If there were hippies and I was with them and in the crowd of them, then people would look and say, there's a hippie. And point at me and say, yeah, he's one of those hippie guys. Had the long hair and so on. And I think maybe I even wore a bandana around my head like Willie Nelson does now, sometimes. And hippies did back then. Some of them, not all. So I'm kind of generalizing on the one hand and being kind of particular on the other. This hand over here and this hand over here. And then on the other hand, the hand that I use to go on the booby. Little orneriness got in there. You're ornery today, D. Yes, I am. Is there anything wrong with that, D? No, sirree, Bobby. Ornery's okay. It's allowed. Are you by any stretch of the imagination? Are you cool, man? Yeah, I'm kind of cool. Actually, sometimes I'm just awesome. And occasionally I'm brilliant. And I'm bragging, right? You think, oh, you narcissist, you. Maybe I am. Another cool word, which I didn't really think a whole lot about until recently when people started calling certain people that we won't mention their name, who happened to be president, calling him a narcissist. And so what's wrong with that? It's just a word. Oh, it describes the mental capacity of someone or persona. And, okay, so let's just say I'm a narcissist, just for the sake of discussion. No, don't get carried away. I didn't say this was a discussion, because this is a monologue, and that means I'm the one talking and you're not. Okay. Narcissist. So here's my theory. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, let's just say, as I said, for the sake of discussion, or for the sake of monologue, that I'm a narcissist. There are a lot of words that I could use and present and claim, and talk about. But narcissist, it means a person that's kind of, I'm not going to get technical on you. Let's just say a narcissist is a guy or gal, usually a guy apparently, for some reason. I've never heard a woman being called a narcissist. I think that's weird. Don't you? That's sort of like discrimination, right? That's sexist. Another funny word. Are you a sexist? Yep, I am very much in favor of sex. But somehow or another the word sexist becomes a bad word. Sort of like, the other word. Anyway, if I'm a narcissist, then so. Like, so. Dramatic pause and silence, waiting for you to, answer that question. To yourself, since I can't hear you. Because it's radio. All right. I don't have a problem with being a narcissist because, and like I said, I'm not going to be technical here. I'm not going to read it word for word, verbatim, quote the quote. Oh no, not that. Never that. Well, sometimes the dictionary, because a lot of times the dictionary, particularly today in today's world, particularly in today's America, and on the internet, you've got dictionaries that are not really very good dictionaries. Because people who made the dictionary and let's say, I'm not going to name one, but like if I was to drop a name, I'd say like dictionary.com. If that is, shall we say, run by or administered by a dick. Thus, they call it a dictionary. Look that one up in the dictionary. All right. So anyway, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to just kind of be casual here. It's Casual Monday, let's say. It is kind of casual because I'm sitting here and I'm dressed kind of a casual way. Got my robe on, or dressing gown, or smoking jacket, or whatever the fuck they call it. It's a robe, okay? Because I'm not putting on pants yet. Don't want to. It's my house, and I'm alone, and I can do what I want because I'm a free man at the moment under the present circumstances. I'm not particularly free outside my home or outside my studio, as the case may be, which is pretty much like home/studio because it's both at the same time. Anyhow, what we're talking about is the word narcissist. So here I'll give you my definition of the word, which I'm not going to claim it's official, but it seems to me like when I did look it up and I saw in the dictionary, I'll paraphrase is what I'm going to say. I'm going to paraphrase what it said. The definition was a person who is full of himself. I think it's kind of funny, really, when someone says, you're McClung, you're full of yourself. You're like, yeah. Which is probably better than being an empty shell. And, of course, they have to add insult to injury by saying, you're full of shit. Meaning that I'm full of myself and myself is shit. Which is not nice, really. All right, put it this way. All right, let's just put it this way. Oh, I've got a cat. Hold on. I got to let the cat in. Really, because I have cats. I like cats. If you don't like cats, what was that word again? Let me think. Yeah, I got it. Fuck you. You don't like cats. Just a part of you that doesn't like cats. So the rest of you might be just fine. But I mean, you might like dogs. In which case, yeah, that's cool because I like dogs too. But I don't have any dogs at the moment. I have cats because that's just the way it is. I didn't buy them or anything. It's not like, I went down to Walmart and said, hey, I want to buy a couple of cats. No, I just opened the door one day and there they were. Well, one at a time, not both at the same time. And one was like about 12 years ago or so, and the other one's like a couple of years ago. And there they are. And hey, cat. And they said, meow, meow, purr, purr. And I said, okay, whatever. And they just stayed, and that's fine. And then one of them, the male one, that tomcat, he adores me. And if you can say that a cat, like, does a cat adore people? Well, I'm just saying the cat adores me, like follows me around like a puppy, purrs and rubs and wants me to pet it. And he's like, oh, you're such I love you, my man, human person. And they think that they can pretty much control me, like, come and like at the door and say, let me in. You want to let me in because I'm your buddy. Let me in. And so I go and let them in. So I'm going to just put this on hold for a second, and you can just pretend like there's a commercial running for the next, 20 seconds. What commercial? I don't know what kind of Bud Light. Commercial for Bud Light. Yeah, maybe that's what you're into. If you're into Bud Light, just pretend it's a commercial running. Make up your own commercial for the next 20 seconds. Okay? And I'll be right back. All right. I trust you enjoyed the commercial. It was actually a commercial for myself, my own radio show. Listen to D. McClung's Art Monologues on Spreaker.com. All right, or Yahoo. What's that one? YouTube. Yeah, listen to it there. Listen to it on my website, DELDE, McClung.com. Website, official. Got a lot of got a few samples of my artwork there. Images. Pixelated, colorized images. Got several kind of things there. Got some abstracts, got some hard edge expressionism, got some surrealism, got some nudes. Yeah, got a whole section on nudes. My version of nudes, and there's no censorship there because I believe in freedom. Certainly believe in freedom of expression or freedom of speech for you who don't really express anything but do like to make a lot of noise. Because I don't do censorship and I don't do ratings and I don't do that stuff where it's like, oh, PG-13 and R and X and YZ and stuff. I don't do that because that's just stupid, and I don't do that, and I don't allow other people to do that to me, because that would mean they were fucking Nazi fascist bastards, and I don't like people like that, because primarily, to put it in common language, they're fucking assholes, and they don't have anything to say about what I do, because I can do what I want. It's a free country. Yeah, not really, is it? But hasn't been free for a long time. I don't think it's ever been free, really. I mean, if you think about it, the slaves, they weren't free, and there was a lot of them, millions, and at one time. So we might have to suggest that maybe, like, oh, the good old days. You mean back when there were, like, people were slaves, particularly black folk? And don't give me that African American crap. I mean, just because you're black doesn't mean you've ever been to Africa or ever seen Africa or ever even, some people are black, they've never even heard of Africa because they're like 2 years old. So cut that shit out. I mean, that's stupid. And if you want to end racism and you want to get away from that being segregating and separating the races, and if you want to get, races, that just means you come from a different part of the world. And if you came from America, then you're not an African, then are you? Never were an African, because I've never been to Africa. I'm just going to say I'm an African American. Like, that's just bullshit. Politically correct, socialist nonsense. So get over it. The collective. Oh, no. See, that's a kind of a contradiction. We want all of you to be reduced to the lowest common denominator, that is to be equal, and yet we want to separate you by calling you an African American. Yeah, I know. The argument goes something like, we're not African Americans, we're all just plain Americans. Not all of us. Some people actually live in other countries, like, China. And those folks would be called Chinese. Or I've heard that the word Oriental is a slur. I don't get that, because aren't they Orientals? Okay, Asians. Suppose we have a Chinese guy come over to America, like say immigrate to this country, and he comes here and he's living here, and and he's got a job maybe, and doing whatever he might be doing, and then he says, someone says, "Hey, you look a little Asian. Where do you come from?" And the guy says, "I came from China. I immigrated from China." Are you a terrorist? No, I'm just a guy that came and I brought my wife and kids over, and well, let's just say no kids. He came over. He brought his Chinese wife over, and they became naturalized citizens of the U.S. I'm not going to get into the difference between being an American and being a U.S. citizen. That's two different things, by the way. If you're a U.S. citizen, then you were probably naturalized, or you're an ex-slave. Because that's what the 14th Amendment's all about. It has nothing to do with, has nothing to do with today, really. All right, African American. You're not. Just because you have darker skin, that is to say more brownish towards the blackish. By the way, why can't I just call them black folk instead of? Why do I have to call everybody that's not Caucasian or whitish looking, which would be more like, well, not white really, are we? White folk. We're not white. Well, unless you're an albino. But let's say, okay, hey, I'm a brown person. So, put it that way. Or have you ever heard a Chinese guy say, hey, I'm a yellow person? I've never really heard a Chinese guy say that about himself. Oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering, the cat is sticking his head and upper body into the cat food bag of cat food. And, now we got the freaking phone. Okay, hold on. Well, that was an interesting phone call. It was from a book publisher, a book publishing company. They think, that artist, author, poet, kind of radio host kind of guy is worthy of a phone call, mind you. No, it wasn't Simon and Schuster. So it wasn't Simon and Schuster. But, hey, a reputable company, no doubt. Anyway, I'll consider their offer. If it's agreeable, maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. All right, I was talking about words and things, and profanity and so on. Like the word fuck. It's just a 4-letter word. It could be applied in various ways. And I've seen lists of the different ways you can use the word, say the word, like fuck that, or I'm fucked up, or fuck off, or hey, just lots of applications of that word. And I'm going to guess that because of that, it could have various meanings. I'm not going to get into that dictionary technical stuff, but what I started out with was narcissist, and so I got back around it. It took me 28 minutes, but I got back around it. All right, narcissist. So if I'm a narcissist, I'm not saying I am, but if I was, I would have to say that's not really a problem. And that's the gist of what I'm saying, is that, okay, so you're a narcissist. Yeah, so? And suppose, and I hear this a lot, I've heard the word a lot lately since Donald Trump has been, become the president, which to me is reminds me of another word, which is surreal, meaning super real? Not necessarily, but more like, what the fuck? So anyway, he's the president, and that's just amazing. I probably pretty much speechless here. Anyway, they called him a narcissist, among other nasty names. And so, was I talking about the Valentine thing in the beginning? Maybe I was. I probably should say a word about that. I think I've got a few minutes here I can do that. So anyway, right now, so I'm a narcissist, so Donald Trump is a narcissist. Let's say I was I probably shouldn't use certain words at this point. It would be too distracting for you. You'd just get pissed off and call me names and shit. It wouldn't be anything productive from that. Let's say I was Trying to think of something cool, but yet not really cool. All right, back a few years ago, it was not cool, apparently, to be some certain kind of thing. All right, I'll just put a name to it: a homosexual. Back when I was a kid, it wasn't really considered cool to be gay. And, we got all the usual words like faggot and so on. And I heard the word faggot when I was a kid, and we were in school, in the locker room, gym class and so on. And I'm like, yeah, you're a faggot. Yeah, you're a faggot. And I'm like, what the hell's a faggot? I didn't know. So anyway, I kind of figured it out and realized that they were talking about homosexuals. And like, you're a faggot. And like, today it's different. The climate's different. The way people act and believe and so on are different. And now it's just apparently, for the most part, it's cool to be gay. And nobody gets into that macho kind of thing and calls people a faggot. I mean, I can almost imagine in high schools today across the country, there's kids, boys still being boys and doing what boys do and calling some guy a faggot. You're a faggot. And then the faggot saying, no, I don't use the word faggot much. It's a cool word in a way, but I just don't use it very often because it's like the N-word, which I would have said out loud without just saying N-word because it's just a word. And in France, the word means black. So, hey, I mean, it's what it means in French. I mean, so if a French guy says it, it's perfectly within the range of common talk because he says, hey, there goes a black bus or a black cat. I know it's the G-E-R at the end of the word that screws you up. But change the letters around, it becomes G-R-E, which is French for black. The color, not the person. So what we have here is a word like narcissist. Well, so I'm a narcissist. Big deal. I mean, I don't do anything bad just because I'm a narcissist. I mean, just because I'm full of myself and I think, oh, I'm just hot stuff, I am like awesome. I'm brilliant. I even mentioned that, I think, earlier. It's not a problem. And but unfortunately in America, at least in America, Americans not being all that literate and not able to comprehend certain concepts, it is a problem for them because they're like, that's a bad thing. It's like almost like like saying you're a homosexual, like as if that's a bad thing. I mean, as if that's like a crime or something. I'm pretty sure that if you're homosexual and you're raping people of your own gender, let's say, I'm guessing you're not a nice person. And if you're actually raping, like if you're gay and you are raping little boys, then that's a crime. Because rape is a crime. But being a homosexual is not a crime. I guess there were people in some point of the ignorant stages of human development thought that being gay was like being possessed by a demon and you're committing the devil's deeds or something. And I think probably there wasn't a whole lot of ever in the history of humanity, where guys actually, did that nasty stuff. But, hey, I think in some cases it's almost a badge of honor. I'm gay and I'm proud of it. And like, well, it's probably just the way you were born. I mean, nature. Humans aren't the only ones who display homosexual tendencies and behavior. I've had a dog at one point that didn't give a shit. It'd hump a male dog or my leg or whatever. Anyway, I'm not comparing humans to dogs. But anyway, just because you're a narcissist doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you do bad things to anyone else. It doesn't mean you commit a crime. I'm not saying Donald Trump is going to commit any crimes just because he could very well be a narcissist. I mean, there's a big difference between a narcissist and, a narcissist that murders people. You follow me? It's like, like, let's say George Bush Jr., who is a monster, who is, in fact, an ex-president, and who has committed crimes against humanity because he is a monster. And that's giving monsters, real monsters, as if there were a bad name, because George Bush is a special kind of evil. And speaking of him, I am really surprised that man is still walking around free, considering that'd be like saying, oh yeah, Adolf Hitler is alive and well, and he's walking around and living free in Texas. I mean, if you want to compare someone to Adolf, that guy's pretty close to it. And why we wouldn't allow Adolf Hitler to walk around free like that? I mean, if we'd actually captured him alive, and he would have been taken to the Hague and tried, or Nuremberg or wherever, and just you're a fucking monster, and we're going to hang you. Case closed, or firing squad, or however way they would have done that. But they wouldn't have let him just, oh yeah, you lost, so you can just go about your business now. Go get yourself an estate, in outskirts of Paris somewhere, and just live happily ever after. No, that wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So that's like saying, George Bush, hey, that's like saying, Americans are funny, by the way. You can just go off to live in Texas now, and just sometimes we'll even put you on the news and talk to you and watch you and see. Hi, how you doing, George? Aren't you cute? They actually do that. I've seen it on the news. George Bush, he's so cute. I'm thinking whoever even talks to that piece of shit and shoes should probably just be shunned for being totally stupid. Crimes against humanity. You know what I'm saying? Crimes against humanity. George Bush, Pol Pot, Stalin, Hitler. Same category. Same disgusting monster. So anyway. So just being something, not so bad. Actually murdering people makes you a mass murderer. You could, okay, so I'm a murderer, and have you murdered anybody? No, not really. Then you haven't really committed any crimes against humanity, right? No. So you think you're a murderer, fine, but you haven't murdered anybody, so who cares? And you're a homosexual, that means you rape little boys. No, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm not gay. But let's say, hypothetically, that I'm pretending to be a homosexual, and these guys are talking to me, and they're saying, you rape little boys. And I don't rape little boys. I never have, ever, and I won't, because it's a crime, and it's just not right to do that, because I'd be violating that child's, little boys, being child, not adolescent, them to include two different kind of people. Seriously, child and adolescent, two different stages of human development. They are not mutually equal. I mean, they're not the same. I mean, you can't call an adolescent a child unless he's your child and you brought him into the world through your seed being planted in the mother's womb. Otherwise, he's not your child. Back in the old days, I guess, back in the 1800s, you could actually own a child, and own that child. It's an offspring of those two N-word people over there who I own, and so therefore I own that child. Which, by the way, is a crime in this country today. If you own somebody, then you're slaves. Then you're, I'm sorry to say it, but you're a criminal. Yes, I said if you own people back in the 1800s in America, if you owned a black person, you didn't really. That was an abstract idea. But physically, you actually did have control over them and possessed them. like cattle or like a chair. In which case you were a slave owner, which would be disgusting. However, just being something is not doing something. Being something is not doing something. So being gay doesn't necessarily mean you're actually having gay sex with a 8-year-old boy. If you're a bank robber and you never rob banks, then you're not really a bank robber. But if you want to call yourself a bank robber, then yeah, because no crime involved. You didn't actually commit a crime by robbing a bank. And there are other examples, like for example, being a pedophile. There are people that hate on pedophiles and just hysterical in this country about that. And like, there may be quite a few pedophiles in America, but very few crimes committed by them, because I think a lot of them are well aware of the fact that it's a crime to rape people. Any people, whether it's a child, adolescent, or an adult, rape is a crime. It's always been a crime everywhere, even though certain systems of societies didn't actually recognize that crime. It was. It's just like, robbing people is a crime. Thievery is a crime. It's always been a crime. What do? I steal. You're a thief. Right. But that's doing something, isn't it? Just thinking about something is not a crime. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, but they come up with this thing like, oh, he's been charged with the intent to deliver illegal drugs or whatever. It's like, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you're going to take this pot and sell it to somebody. Like, I wasn't thinking that, Your Honor. I was actually just had it in I smoke it myself, and that's nobody else, just me. I don't sell it. I might grow it in my backyard or whatever, or I might even buy it from somebody from time to time, but I'm not selling it to anybody. So calling it intent is just stupid, because a policeman cannot read your mind, and God forbid that should ever become possible. So charging someone with intent to sell is just stupid. You're either selling it or you're not. And if you are, then you are. But if you're not, then you're not. So that just doesn't make sense to anybody with a rational mind. Coming close to the end of my show, this segment at any rate. And so just being something is not doing something. And if you're not doing something criminal, then being something is not a crime. I use the word pedophile. If you're a pedophile and you don't rape anybody, then, certainly anybody, like children or otherwise, then that's not a crime. You just are what you are. And I get the impression that most people think, in America, they think that, being something like a pedophile is actually a crime. It might be disgusting in your eyes, but they are what they are, and they haven't done anything criminal. You can't be a criminal just by being something. It's just an absurd notion. In fact, it's insane. So, just being an asshole, not a crime. Even though people might think, you're an asshole, and that's, you're disgusting, and I don't want to be around you, so I'm just not going to talk to you. I wish that was true in the internet. Like, if you say something on the internet and somebody doesn't like it or thinks, I'm going to call him an asshole or an idiot, and you shouldn't be doing that, because that's like not nice, and it's probably not true, because people have called me all kind of names, idiot. I'm far from being an idiot. But then again, I think retards or retarded people, meaning clinically diagnosed as being not very smart, about an IQ of 50 or something, just being one isn't a crime. What you do as a freaking asshole is different. You have to do something first. The whole point is, being something is not doing something, and committing a crime is one thing, but just being a person that might be called a robber or thief or pedophile or whatever, There's no crime there, and there's no reason to even give that any consideration. Gotta go. Got 10 seconds. 9, 8. Catch you later. D. McClung, Art Monologues.